nobody feels like they belong. Like, we all feel like we are different. We all feel like we don't belong. That's kind of what unites us all. And if you can have the courage to start talking about it, you'll start realizing that you fit in because you feel like you don't belong, because that's what unites us all.
Yeah, like, amen to that. Like, once we do belong, then we are no longer ourselves. We are fit in. We're actually trying to fit in when not fitting in is what makes us who we are.
Yeah.
So like the minute you start to conform and try and make yourself fit and belong, what? I think the belonging happened when we didn't, right? Like, kind of when we didn't belong in that group, we were belonging to where we belonged until we tried to change who we were to fit.
Join me, 'cause I'm seeking sunshine, 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 I'm seeking sunshine.
Welcome to Seeking Sunshine, Do What Lights You Up, a podcast for passionate, creative moms who are ready to live their best life and be their full, lit up selves while being amazing moms, because it's possible to be both. It turns out that you don't have to lose yourself in motherhood, and I'm here to show you how. This is Seeking Sunshine 2.0 because we are no longer focusing on the problems, but on the solutions. It's your turn to shine. Hey, my gorgeous friends. On this amazing week where I got to rebrand my podcast and give away a custom song, I decided to throw in a bonus episode for you. I have this amazing interview with Heidi Wideman. It is so good. There's so much beauty, so much growth, and I thought this would be such a fun thing to do, to just throw in this bonus episode this week. So this is a special friend of mine that I got to interview about motherhood and weight loss and how to really, really love yourself. And this is a topic that is near and dear to my heart. Maybe some of you don't know, I actually had weight loss surgery. Gosh, I think it's been 3 years ago now. And, weight, I think a lot of us have dealt with weight issues in our lives as women and mothers. It's a really common thing that a lot of us have to worry about and deal with. Motherhood tends to, with pregnancy and the whole thing, and as women, like, we're always trying to look our best, but getting pregnant and gaining weight and losing weight, it's just something that we all deal with, right? So this is a really amazing episode, and we talk a lot about how to deal with really that sensitive topic about like weight with our kids and ourselves, and there's just so much really juicy goodness in this episode. So Heidi is a contender. She's so unstoppable, and she is a voice for the voiceless. She's a deaf advocate, a special needs mama, an abuse survivor, and a lipedema warrior, and she coaches others in health, positivity, and life. You'd never know what she's faced or what she faces daily because she shows up with energy, light, and a heart for others. She is absolutely incredible, and I'm so excited to introduce you to her. This is Heidi Wideman. Before we jump into this interview with Heidi, I want you to know that I actually did this interview with her before I relaunched the show. And so I went back and I asked her, what her biggest struggle was. as a mom trying to pursue her passions. And so she gave me such a beautiful answer. She told me that her biggest struggle that she faces as, a coach and a mom is that there's simply never enough time to do it all. We're always looking for more time and even willing to divide ourselves into dozens of little pieces to get more accomplished. She says, I have 4 special needs kiddos, and with that territory comes a lot of appointments. The daily schedule didn't have pockets of time or nooks and crannies to fit coaching into. What I did initially was save my coaching that included talking with others for after my kiddos were tucked into beds. And that worked for a season. Later, I taught my kiddos more specifically about what I was doing to help others and why I did it and got their buy-in. We created a vision board with our families, their individual and my goals and dreams. Isn't that amazing that they did that? They knew that if mom had a meeting and they could self-entertain for that 30 minutes, then they could earn a ticket towards a new fidget toy, our trip to Disneyland, or a date with mom and other things. Kids love working towards a common goal and especially something tangible. It creates camaraderie, teamwork, future thinking, and leaders, etc. They inevitably help each other. Shh, mom's in a meeting. Stay quiet. Don't go in her office because she's helping someone get healthy right now. We want our date with mommy, so let's clean up a little bit to get ready faster. Mom's getting someone healthy, so we get to pick out a sticker today. That's buy-in. They want what you want, and they know why we want it. Accepting a little bit of messy and cheering each other on along the way to our vision, even if I wasn't coaching, all of this is a pretty great policy to live by. I thought that was such an amazing answer to that question that I had to include it in here, because we're all moms trying to figure out how to be ourselves and do the things that we love and be awesome moms. And that was just such a beautiful example. So here we are, on to the interview with Heidi.
Hi, Heidi. Thank you so much for being on the Seeking Sunshine podcast today. How are you?
Hey, I'm fabulous. How are you?
I'm awesome. I'm so excited to hear your story today.
Yeah, thanks for having me here.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's dive in. Let's hear all about you. I want to hear what you've been through and how you've been resilient through tough things.
Okay, awesome. Sure. I'm excited to share as I sit here and wonder which part of my story everybody would want to hear. The first thing that comes to my mind is just kind of my health journey, and the health, since health is like a full circle thing for me. We're talking about, there's the physical health, there's the mental health, and just kind of social health, like a little bit of everything. I am the person who grew up with overweightness upon my body, and I didn't know really any other way. It's this kind of little chubby kid. You're always getting made fun of. While that's not acceptable to make fun of others, like, people do it, and they do it in the background and they do it in the foreground, because it would be even just right in my own home, because I had 5 brothers, and I think it was pretty easy for them to call me names when mom and dad were at work, right? Say mean things. And that was, well, it was normal, like, if I didn't
I relate to it so much. Like, I grew up in a big family, and all of us were chubby, all of us were big, and like my dad had weight loss surgery when I was, early teens, and it was like we were just known as the fat family. Like, it was just part of our identity. It's like when you just grow up and it's just like, oh, that's just who you are.
It's like, and it was expected of you, it sounds like. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
With that, the rest of my family seemed to be like at optimal weight, and I did have a brother who, until he hit high school, he kind of got a little pudgy. And so then it was like an eye for an eye. It was like he could call me names, and I wanted to be able to call him something back.
Yeah.
But I realized I couldn't, because it was like he didn't have the same struggles I did, and it was different reality. Yeah. So kids at school made fun of me. And I want to say this one brother in reference, he kind of, when we were in middle school together, we were just 1 year different, like in grades,
Yeah.
you know, at school. So when I was in 7th grade, when I went in middle school, he was an 8th grader there with me. And I remember he stood up for me at one moment where I was like, I feel like somebody had approached me and it was like, I was going to get beat up and I didn't know what for, because I was just the innocent little 7th grader. But in the process of that happening, I was like, I didn't do what I'm being accused of. I didn't do it. I don't know what you're talking about, you know? And the picture a movie, like the wind got back to the brother and the brother came up to the crowd of people. And he was like, hey, what are you guys doing? You know, and the girl who was wanting to beat me up for whatever I didn't do was like, okay, hey, girls, back off. If she says she didn't do it, she didn't do it. It was like the minute my brother showed up, you know, I was okay. So I'm appreciative for that brother and what he did give me, even though I was often made fun of. But anyway, having said all of that, kids were resilient, and they say that. Like, I showed up to school the next day anyway, even if I was made fun of, even if I was bullied. And I think that's a part of how I was created. Like, it didn't matter that we moved pretty much every year of my life and it was a new school, because I just showed up all over again, right? You show up, you shine. If people don't want to be your friends because you're chubby, that's on them. But you just be the happy person you are and socialize, or else you won't have a friend, right? So you just
And yet those things still affect you. Moving every year, like,
it's going to affect you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I hope you can take the good with the bad. That's the sunshine part, right?
Yeah.
That's the sunshine part we talk about, because of that, it did make me a person who, by high school, I was the one who reached out to the people sitting alone, right? I created my group of friends by those who sat alone. Hey, there's a couple of us over here, come meet with us, right? And maybe I helped some people along the way because of that.
Yeah, you made a choice. Instead of choosing to be, you know, okay, I'm going to be alone and sad all the time, I'm going to be the one instead who is the one who helps those who are alone and sad.
And then you say, hey, those people who were alone and sad were actually pretty cool and some of my really greatest friends, you know, and I wouldn't have had them if I chose not to include them. So yeah, you're going to take the good with the bad. And what I've learned now in my world is that sometimes it's not good or bad. It just is. And it's what we make of it. You're going to take the facts, and then the emotion you put with the fact is what makes it the good or bad. It's what you put with it, right? And so, I mean, they say that like anxiety and excitement light up the same parts of your brain, that your brain's doing the same thing. It's what emotion you attach to it that's going to create the anxiety or the excitement with that moment. That's made me a lot more calm through some of my anxiety, because I deal with anxiety, yes, you know, and I deal with depression and other things that maybe it's all chemical imbalances, or maybe it came with living one of those brutally difficult childhoods. But the truth is, in my adult years, I've lost over 100 pounds 5 different times. But in addition to that, I've also lost the pounds that didn't equal at 100 many times, like 20 pounds here, 40 pounds here. Like, I've always been losing weight. I'm really good at losing weight. You name the diet, I've done it. And I'm also really good at living above 200 pounds, even above 300 pounds, and still functioning as a happy person. Because yes, it's a choice. It didn't mean I'm comfortable or that I didn't deal with challenges that came with high weight, like, I don't know, being hotter in Texas at the zoo in the summer than anyone else, you know, like, still deal with that. But it's because of that weight that I was able to always be a friend to others, because I knew what it felt like to not have the friend. So yeah, there's that side. And then there's the side where hey, I found a really great program and I was losing weight successfully. And then I decided, probably by nature, to help those who were struggling. And I became a health coach and I started helping all of those who were watching me successfully lose weight. And it was a beautiful thing helping others. And I created quite a community around myself of people who also wanted to be healthy. And so when I discovered that I had a connective tissue disorder that really was causing my weight struggles for pretty much all of my life, that was a huge hit. And
Well,
then
and how did that feel? Like to just just I mean, as somebody who also has struggled with weight my entire life, to just be like, oh my gosh, like and I guess the way you said that was like, oh, there was something. To me, that sounds like a relief. To me, that sounds like, oh my gosh, it wasn't just me. It wasn't just willpower that like, oh, I was sloppy. Because isn't that like the notion that we're all fed our entire lives? You know, oh, you're
absolutely
overweight. It must mean that you're sloppy. It must mean that you have no willpower. It must mean that you're lazy. And all of these lies
right.
we are fed our entire lives that are so far from the truth. And to have an answer, like to me, that sounds like so much relief. How
Yeah.
does that make you like feel? Just out of curiosity.
So it's let me put in the password to my kids' show, the Netflix account. 1 second. That was
Yeah,
awesome.
no worries.
So I would say I felt what you said, the instant relief, but I also felt, still putting in a password.
Yeah, maybe like something else is wrong with me.
um,
That sort of idea of like,
oh dear, I have to move just slightly closer to the TV so
no
we can
worries. We
still
can
in
pause
passwording.
for a second.
And that's just so that he can be okay, right? Along with the other kids who are on the different show.
No
And that's
worries.
what a day off of school looks like around here.
Oh, I
If I want
understand.
to talk to you. So hang on. Here you go, buddy. Don't bite your shirt, okay?
Well, he's being fantastically quiet for the password
They're
not
doing
being in.
awesome.
Because
Yeah.
my kiddos, if the password is not working, they are screaming.
Yeah, no, God bless it. And thankfully they're doing great. They're doing great because that's a different part of my story, but all my kids have special needs. So when
Same.
things don't go quite their way, it's a fun day, right?
Oh
So
yeah. Well, and mine are constantly fighting over which one gets the TV and which one gets. Yeah,
bless the beautiful children. We
I
love them.
know.
And
Well,
and
and we can dive into that discussion of
I'm
how having multiple kids with special needs, how they, interact with each other, and how
yeah.
that is a dynamic all of its own.
Yeah, we can go into that high stress activity later. But I love it. So you were just saying, like, when somebody said, to finally realize it's not your fault, like it was a huge relief, like, and a huge relief to like, oh my gosh, because I knew it. I knew this isn't my fault. I knew my weight was not me. I knew that all along. And not really. I mean, I didn't know that I had this disorder and these other things attached to it, but I knew like my weight didn't define me. People wanted it to. People tried to call me out. The doctors say, lose weight, you'll feel better. They'd also
Well, and
say, like,
there's this there's just this kind of overlying thing that no one really says, and yet it's really just there, where it's like somehow it makes you a bad person, right? Where it's like the doctor said lose weight, so just go lose weight. Like, what? Like, how come you haven't just done that and kept it off? You obviously feel better when you lose weight. You obviously feel better when you only eat things that are green all the time. So how come you don't just do all the perfect things and exercise all the time and do all, and it's like, it's just like, no, it doesn't make you a bad person. And yet there's this little part of your brain that's telling you like, am I a bad person because I ate a bite of a donut? I don't know, you know?
amen. Because there's a stigma that comes with
Mhm.
you meet down.
And yet, how many people? There was some point in my life where I realized that I knew skinny people who ate donuts and didn't work out, and I was like, wait a minute. This is like a realization of like, hold on a minute.
Right.
They're not doing all these things and they're skinny and wait a minute. There's a little disconnect here.
Yeah, that's not fair, right? Hold on.
Right. Mhm.
That's not fair, but also, wait a minute.
But they're
How
perceived so differently.
people assume they're healthy. People assume a
Better
thin person is
people.
healthy.
There's a morality here that they
Yeah.
are just perceived as better people, as better humans, as more moral, kinder. And like, and you're like, wait a minute.
They get cast in the role of the leading character too, because
Mhm.
they look like somebody more dateable
Mhm.
or fill in the blank, right?
Oh,
Like
I know. Yep. Mhm.
there's a lot of unfairness around it, but it's why I throw in air quotes for those, for since we're not seeing me, but like if you don't meet this, like you aren't okay. And because they meet the requirement of looking the part, then they are okay. The truth is,
Yeah.
as a health coach, I help people who are thin every day. Every day I help people who are thinner
Yeah.
than myself.
Well, and it's funny because it's just like this idea of like health actually has nothing to do with what you look like. And yet we have been plastered with this idea of healthy is skinny. And it is so not.
Yeah, it's not. Amen. Healthy isn't skinny. Um, we hope that by being in health, we are thinner because we want to feel good out hiking and we want to feel good riding the bike, and you will feel good at a thinner weight. It's true, actually. There is truth in that. But people who are looking for really optimal health and beyond, sometimes losing weight will decrease our blood pressure and our cholesterol and other such things, but sometimes we have to change what we eat, not just change our weight. And so being at the gym maybe isn't going to solve that problem. We have to change some of our nutritional footprint, and I mean, we just go all over on that one because I did equate fat with ugly, and I equated fat with lazy, and I equated fat with, all these negative terms that I'd been taught. In my mind, I didn't equate a fat person as ugly, but internally I thought, oh, I must be lazy because I'm fat. And I wasn't lazy at all. I was like Cinderella. I worked like a horse, and I got in trouble by my brothers, like because my parents were both at work. So I'd get beaten up in the background if I didn't do their chores, right? Because then they'd get in trouble for not having done their chores, which then came off on me because they had delegated, because I was, the seventh of the 9 children. I was the little one who everything got pushed down. Anyway, and so in the end, I wasn't lazy. And by golly, I am not ugly, And so I knew in my soul, in my heart, in my spirit, yes, I had a beautiful spirit and countenance, and physically, like I looked good. I was overweight, but hey, I knew I was beautiful. Sounds funny, but not really. I can know I'm beautiful. Like, and I was being told otherwise. Right. And so I'm like, no, whoever marries me one day, I don't have to be thin. But in my mind, I was. In my mind, when I got married, I would be thin. In my mind, like that's how I saw myself. And so, anyway, I will tell you briefly about this connective tissue disorder, which is actually sometimes, like if you go search it online, you'll see it listed as a fat disorder, because that's how it was originally looked at. But now they know that it's connective tissue. And most of your body is made up with connective tissue. And my connective tissue is hyper flexible. So because your veins and arteries are made up of this connective tissue, mine leak proteins and blood into my body. And then my body with this disorder is called lipedema. Your body then goes and attacks what's being leaked because it's foreign and it doesn't want it there. And it creates inflammation and nodules. So like the size of peas and pearls, and even larger, like you'll get tennis ball size ones, but nodules, and they hurt. They're physically painful. And so when I run my hand like down my arm, my upper arm, I can feel the nodules. And it's surprising that what could look like cellulite in my arm or my legs, because it's primarily often found in legs, butt, hips, that area, but it's also in your belly and on your upper arms. So anyway, in the process of that, it can look like cellulite, this lumpiness, but it wasn't at all. Now I might have real fat on my body too, because maybe I did eat a donut, whatever. But the truth is I've eaten healthy my whole life. I've always been on a diet. Always, as a child, always questioned, should I eat the seconds? Like everyone else gets seconds, but should I? And the dessert after like family night and everyone gets ice cream and they all get the 2 scoops, but I just need a single scoop cone. And it was like, I was always eating the healthiest, actually, because if somebody wasn't noticing, if my parents weren't noting it for me as a child, by the time I was in college, I knew what to eat or not eat. And when you're on a diet, you learn portions, you learn things. And I was the one at the gym, and I might've been overweight and embarrassed to be there, but I was there, and so I learned a lot of things, whether good or bad, that made me a freaking incredible coach right now. Because the truth is, it was never about my weight only. And now I know that for other people, that other things contribute to weight. And it has nothing to do with just what you're putting in your mouth. How's your stress level? How much sleep do you get?
Yeah.
Hey, what about your hydration? Did anyone ever teach you to drink water as a kid? Were you taught to hydrate?
Yeah.
No, were we ever taught that? No, you learn that when you're on a diet, right? And then as you learn these healthy habits, then you can really look at it, and from a different perspective, because the reason that food, that donut maybe went into our mouth had nothing to do with hunger, honestly, right? It's stress, or even the feeling that you deserved it because you hadn't eaten one in years. And I deserve this donut. Everyone else is having one. Why can't I? Right? Because it's taken me a lot of years to finally eat birthday cake on my birthday. Right? And I decided to eat it, not because I thought I deserved it, but I thought my kids deserved to see that mom can have birthday cake, and that might be the healthier choice on that day.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Mom being a good example is such an important thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't think that can be understated. Like thinking about how much of an example we are to our kids. Like, I mean, and it's so funny because I've heard so many times, like, don't shame your body in front of your kids. And I've always tried so hard to like not ever comment about my own body, no matter how I was feeling. And then the other day I watched my husband like go stand in front of the mirror and go like, I hate how I'm looking right now. I've gained so much weight. And I was like, nope, your body's beautiful. Like to my own husband in front of the kids. And I was like, I love your body just how it is, no matter what it weighs right now.
Yeah.
Because it really is so important to show our kids how we treat ourselves, because that's how they're going to look at their own selves. They don't look at, what we tell them. They internalize how we speak to ourselves.
Yeah. My kids, because of this disorder, the connective tissue disorder, my kids now know more about my body. And their little prayers are like, and please help mom's legs to be okay. Right? They want that because they know mom would do so much more. I would jump on the trampoline for longer periods of time because I still do it. It's just the pain level is increased, and they know that, and they don't want me to be in pain, right? My kids don't want that, but I don't shame my body. I learned ages ago not to do that. Now I feel things and I shame it. Maybe between my husband and I might talk about things with him, that I'm not comfortable and I'm not liking, but not with my children. Okay. My
Yeah.
kids, they know, they think I think they have no idea, but they have their experience with my body, meaning if they rest on my leg and then they go to get up and their little elbow digs in my leg, I'm like, ow, it's painful. Oh, I'm sorry, mom. I'm sorry, mom. So they have a different way of seeing how my body is. And they say, because we try to teach them too, like they know I'm fat. And I put the air quotes around my word fat. They know my weight is higher than other moms. I think they know those things. But I remember one time my kid was coming out of a little music class in the morning of school, and I was walking my daughter down to her class. So we kind of crossed paths while he was with a bunch of buddies from his music class. And he said, "That's my mom, but don't say anything about her weight. She doesn't like that." Right? Because
Oh, kids.
that's how somebody with autism might speak, right? It's very factual.
Yeah.
And the reason he knew that is because he had said something about my weight, and we had talked to him about it. Like, hey, yeah, it's true. My weight is higher. And is that good or bad? And tell us more about that, right? But remember, it isn't good or bad, it just is. And it's what we make of it. And so we walk through those facts with him.
Yeah.
Yes, mom's weight is on the scale. The number might look larger if I were to step on that. Like, and we just talk about the facts with them. And the truth is, like I said, the kids are resilient. My son was being made fun of for his size, which isn't very sizable to talk about, but he was on the swim team wearing these tight little swim shorts, and his belly was bigger than the child next to him. And so when they made fun of him, it was then like, oh, hold the like, hold your horses.
We're coming out.
Right.
Straight up.
So we don't talk about that, buddy. And then it was related to me, you see. So it wasn't directly related to mom. So it's saying, I can understand why the kids would feel a certain way, because they are made fun of and they are talked to like they should look different, or what about their glasses? And, because three of my four wear glasses,
And I've got my two boys are in glasses, and one of mine struggles with his weight,
and we don't need that. Is it a struggle? See, here's our facts.
Well, and so I call it a struggle because the moment he started ADHD meds skyrocketed, and so for me, seeing that as a mom, I'm like, and it's just like, oh, because I actually had weight loss surgery 2 years ago, and I'm like, I see, you see the family things that you have been through with your family, and it's like, okay, let's eat healthier and let's do these things and let's exercise more and let's eat more vegetables and let's adjust the meds because the doctors are going, look at this thing on the chart, and you're like, and I'm like, we took him off all the meds and nothing has changed, and the doctors are going, and I'm like, I can't do anything. I can't do anything but teach him to love his body the way it is. It is how it is. Like, that's all there is to it, And it's like, yeah, his body is not the same as all the other 8-year-olds.
Yeah. It's like he's predisposed.
He's the same size as my daughter, who's 13. They wear the same size. She'll be 13 at the end of the month. Well, and he'll be 9 at the end of the month. So like, they're 4 years apart. All 3 of my kids wear the same size. They're all in like 14s right now. And I'm like,
it's the struggle. It's the struggle.
Yeah. And it's like
mama's struggle.
I know.
Mama's struggle.
And I'm like, we're just going to eat healthier. We're just going to exercise more, and then we're going to do our best. And it's going to be a family health thing. And that's literally all that we're going to do, because there's nothing else to be done.
It's the beauty of it, because what you walk through, and mine too, my son, that one in reference. Now the others have had a little bit of weight up, down with ADHD meds and all you just said. Like, we're the same.
ADHD meds, and it's like, well, and then we also have this one interesting dynamic of my middle son is severely autistic and semi-verbal and type 1 diabetic, right? And he was severely underweight for years and years until he was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. And now his weight, I think it's perfect. I think it's beautiful because he was severely underweight for so long. And I had a doctor dare to tell me, and he's 11, he'll be 12 at the end of July, and he's in about a size 12, maybe 14. Right? I think he's perfect. And I had a doctor dare to tell me he was overweight. And I was like, don't you ever say that to me. I saw my kid's ribs and thigh gap. I saw that kid almost die of malnutrition. Don't you ever tell me my kid is overweight. Like, I've been through it.
Yeah.
So I'm like we've been like, the weight thing as a mom with kids is such a difficult dynamic. Like, it is, and it's interesting how it's a topic that we almost don't talk about. We almost shy away from it because it's such a difficult thing to talk about as a mom.
And now it's time for a quick break. Elevate your podcast today with a custom theme song. Are you ready to make your podcast truly unforgettable? Let your show's unique personality shine with a tailor-made theme song that sets the perfect tone. I'm Karaleigh Garrison, and I'm passionate about music and podcasts, and I'm here to craft the perfect musical introduction for your content. Why choose me? I'm a talented composer that will work closely with you to understand your podcast vibe and audience, creating a theme song that's exclusively yours. Leave a lasting impression on your listeners with a catchy and memorable tune that perfectly captures your podcast's essence. I understand the importance of deadlines. You'll receive your custom theme song in no time, ready to use in your next episode. With state-of-the-art recording and production, your theme song will sound like it's straight out of a professional studio. A unique theme song can increase listener retention, brand recognition, and overall podcast success. Don't settle for generic music. Make your podcast stand out from the crowd with a custom theme song from me. Contact me today at karaleiggarrison.com/custom-songs to discuss your vision and get started on the musical journey to your podcast greatness. And now back to the show.
Yeah. Well, you're just saying, like, as the doctor says something to you and they have no idea where you've been or where you're coming from. And because my kids are all on the spectrum, you're saying with yours, he didn't have the verbal skills to give you the information to say, I need help, I'm hungry, or whatever it was, right? With the T1 diabetes, I mean, that's hard stuff. And the being a voice for the voiceless, like, that's what you have to do with those poor kids. And that's what we have to do for ourselves with weight, with whatever we're experiencing, right? Like, no matter the struggle, and it's a struggle for, I think, for mamas right now. We are struggling because we're trying to help the ones we love, those who don't have a voice, right? Our children. And you're saying, like, that, like, bless your heart, because you just said it, like, well, I call it a struggle because it's your struggle. For him, your child with the weight, like, little bit things going on, like, it's not his struggle. He's probably okay who he is.
Yeah. No, he's so confident.
Yeah.
He's the kid who runs around naked and has no qualms about it.
And, like, bless it. Like, you're the one there trying to be okay. It's because you want the best for him.
Because we're the ones who are raised with the shame. And it's like, how do we take our own mindset and be like, okay, we need to get rid of the shame and just focus on the health. Just focus on, like, drink lots of water, eat healthy food, exercise. Like, how do we just focus on encouraging healthy habits with our families and just abolish the shame? Because as a lot of us who grew up in, 80s, 90s-ish, like, there was so much shame around our bodies that was just infused into us. And that's not okay. And we don't want to perpetuate that into our future generations. And so how do we rid that, from ourselves so that we don't give it to our kids?
You get at that point where, oh my gosh, thank you, legs, for holding my body upright all these years.
Yeah.
Thank you to my arms and hands that, like, still can fold the laundry, even though they're heavier. Thank you to my feet, who, even though there's, like, what do you say? Like where the bones, I have a bunion on my outside toe where some people have it on the inside, but the my bone, I don't know how to explain it because I'm on a podcast or whatever, but
Even though there's pain and imperfections.
even there's pain and imperfection, well, and the outside bone holds the weight of my foot instead of the middle ones. So it's created like, not even as much a bunion as like a pressure point where the weight is being held up by the tiniest toe.
Sounds really painful.
Right? How stupid that tiniest toe would have to hold the weight of my body upon it. And that all these years, it's done that. Right? And yes, it has pain and struggle on that one little spot. But oh my gosh, thank you, pinky toe. Do you call pinky toe a pinky toe?
Yeah.
Like, thank you, baby toe.
Yeah.
Holding me for all these years, you know, and through walking me everywhere I needed to go so far. Like, I'm not in a wheelchair, right? I am okay. And you've made it be so. Thank you, pinky toe. And like stopping and just expressing gratitude for a minute for the parts of you that you maybe don't love, right? But it deserved love. And thank you for that. And I've had to do the same thing with my inner critic.
Yeah.
To say, oh my gosh, you've been trying to protect every part of me for so long. That inner critic, that's all it's there to do, is trying to keep you safe.
Yeah.
Thank you for keeping me safe. Can you just take a seat now under this shady tree? You just sit there and enjoy the cool breeze. I don't need you right now. I'm okay. You did such a good job. I'm okay. And I can move forward without that inner critic in me. Like,
I survived the school years.
yeah, I can evict you now because I don't need you in there sharing all of those thoughts that maybe protected me and served me for a time, but they don't serve me anymore. Okay. And I think sometimes that's what we do with our, for me, it was probably my mom. I didn't realize in my like thought processes, but that my inner critic actually had a voice. And it was
Usually
my
our
mom.
mothers, isn't it?
Yeah, is often like a best friend or a mother, somebody who helped rear us
That's
up.
not appropriate. That
Right.
would be,
And I
that would be
say,
mine.
yeah. I said, you know what? It's because they wanted the best for us, or our mom, maybe if that's who yours is, she wanted the best for me. And I don't need to protect her though. I don't need to say, oh, she did this because, no, just she did it. And I love her. And I'm grateful she did what she did and to do her best to make me perfect. I'm like, hey, guess what? I think you did your job. I'm pretty dang perfect. Thanks. I can evict you now. Or you can sit over here now. Or even in like the sports analogy, like you're getting benched. You did your part. We're done. I need a new player in there.
Yeah.
Ow.
So you just notice it and
Thank you. Move on.
thank
Right?
you. Okay. Thanks. Thanks for that thought. Okay. I'm going to do this now.
Yeah. I mean, we're okay.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
okay. Right? What is okay? What is good or bad? It just is. We're good. It's the thought we're going to put behind it. And you know what? I did enough inner criticizing. Like, it's really okay. I love my body. It's not perfect. And I never said it had to be.
Well, and no one's is. Nobody's is. And I got asked this the other day when I was in an interview and they were asking me like, what would you say? Because all three of my kids are on the autism spectrum and my husband is pretty sure he's on the spectrum.
Yeah,
And they
same.
asked me, what would you say to somebody who is on the spectrum and they feel like they don't belong? And I was like, nobody feels like they belong. Like we all feel like we are different. We all feel like we don't belong. That's kind of what unites us all. And if you can have the courage to start talking about it, you'll start realizing that you fit in because you feel like you don't belong, because that's what unites us all.
Yeah. Like, amen to that. Like, once we do belong, then we are no longer ourselves. We all fit in. We're actually trying to fit in when not fitting in is what makes us who we are.
Yeah.
the minute you start to conform and try and make yourself fit and belong, what?
Yeah.
I think the belonging happened when we didn't, right? Like kind of when we didn't belong in that group, we were belonging to where we belonged until we tried to change who we were to fit.
Yeah.
I would never want my child to change who they are to fit in a crowd.
Yeah. We
Because
all.
then they lose, right? And if
Mhm.
I had taken everything that everyone ever told me about how I needed to fit in with my weight, and I tried all my whole life to change that one thing about me, believing that it was the thing that made me bad, and to find out none of it was ever my fault. You asked earlier on, like, how did I feel? And yeah, it was a huge relief, but the truth was, it was a huge contradiction to everything I'd ever been taught or told. And so then it was like oh, what a relief to know. And then what the heck? I did all that crap for nothing, like I've
Yeah.
lost weight and I ate like a bird for most of my life, and to still not be good enough,
Yeah.
to never quite belong, to never fit the mold, to always have this thing that made me not okay. Wow, that sucks. So it had a little bit of anger in it too.
Yeah.
Like, what the heck? Why
Why
on earth?
couldn't I just have been good enough the way I was? And that's where it all comes down to. The only person that you can ever be good enough for, the only one who even matters, is you.
And we got to take care of ourselves because it's nobody else's job to do that, right?
Yeah. And so we spend, and I certainly spent my whole life waiting to be good enough for other people and trying to be skinny enough and good enough for other people, just to finally go, wait a minute, am I good enough for myself? Can I just accept who I am?
And can we? Yeah.
Can we? Yeah, we just have to be okay with who we are. We just have to love who we are. And once we can finally do that and realize that it doesn't matter what anyone else says or thinks.
Yeah. Hey, hold on one second.
Yeah, no worries.
Yes, my love, you may do the puzzle here right by me. But can we do it quietly? Because Mom, she's recording my voice. And when she hears me, she can hear you too. Okay.
You could say hi if you want to. Do
you want to say hi to my friends? Okay, look.
Hi.
She's not entirely clothed.
Well, no worries, because I'm gonna delete the video as soon as I get the audio saved. So
she wants to keep talking to me, and I can help you, but I'm making this video message. Okay.
And we are almost done, so no worries.
And we're almost done. Okay. So even whispers they can hear. So can you stay really okay? She knows the rules. Let's see. Okay.
So we can wrap it up. We can do just about done. This has been lovely. Thank you so much for doing this. As we wrap up, do you have any final thoughts to add on before we close?
I say, well, it's kind of like I was talking about in the very beginning, just that health is so much more than our weight. And most of the people I coach, it has what goes in our mouth is a lot more about what's going on in our mind than what's actually going in our mouth. And if you know that you are in a not healthy place, whether that's physically, emotionally, spiritually, whatever it may be, like it's okay to take the steps to make a change. It's okay to do that if you want that. But always when we want to make a change, it comes from within and not because somebody else told us we were not good enough.
I know I have to tell you my favorite quote, because it just is so perfect with exactly everything you're saying. It just is.
Do it.
And I literally say it, I think, every single episode, but that's all right. My favorite quote is from Frozen. And it is, people make bad choices when they're mad or scared or stressed. And it just has to do with literally every part of our lives, but it has to do with what we eat too. We make bad choices with what we put into our bodies, and with exercising, and with everything when we're mad or scared or stressed, and with how we treat people and with how we treat ourselves when we're mad or scared or stressed. And so, like you're saying, like the first thing that we have to do is work on that stressed part.
Can I leave you with a really cool quote?
Yes.
Okay. I
Please.
don't know who I'm quoting, but it is ultimately from Frozen, and we're turning it into a quote. Okay. But it's let it go. I want to say, be like Elsa and Anna. Let it go and do the next right thing.
Yay.
So there you go. Let it go.
I love it.
Whatever you've been doing that didn't serve you well, and do the next right thing. You'll figure it out. So, but it was so fun being here. Thanks for inviting me to share.
That was a
And I
beautiful
hope we're
quote.
helping people as we, scatter the sunshine of every day, right?
I love it. I love it so much. And I love how there's so much sunshine in your story. Like there's so much difficulty in growing up and struggling with your weight and struggling with your health. And you know, I really do. I know how hard that is. And I know that you've had so many challenges that I've not had to face. And I so appreciate everything that you've been through. And I love that you've been able to come share your story. And I love that you've been able to find beauty along the road and in that journey, and that you've been able to turn it around and help people in their struggles. Because I think that that's like the most noble thing that you can do when you have things that have challenged you, is to turn that around and help others. Like it's so beautiful to be able to do that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, girl.
Thank you. This has been so much fun to talk with you. And we
We'll
should
do
just,
more of
like,
it soon, okay?
do it more often. And I'll let you get back to your little ones. Thank
Okay.
you.
Have a good one, girl.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Oh my goodness, I just love Heidi so much. She is such an amazing human being. She's such an amazing friend, and she truly just lights up the world. So here are my very favorite takeaways. Number one, sometimes it's not good or bad. It just is, and it's what we make of it. You've got to take the facts, and it's the emotion you put with the facts that make it good or bad. Number two, healthy actually has nothing to do with what you look like. Healthy isn't skinny. Number three, we have to be a voice for the voiceless, no matter what their struggle is. Number four, we need to get rid of the shame and just focus on the health. Number five, express gratitude to the parts of you that you maybe don't love, but that deserve love. They have carried and protected you for so long. Number six, I love my body. It's not perfect, and nobody said it had to be. Doesn't that just make you want to cry? You guys have to go look in the mirror and say that to yourselves. It's so profound. Nobody said your body had to be perfect, and it deserves so much love. Number seven, you fit in because you feel like you don't belong. Once we do belong, then we're no longer ourselves. We're actually trying to fit in when fitting in makes us who we are. When not fitting in, makes us who we are. Number eight, the only person you can ever be good enough for, the only one who even matters, is you. There's so much beauty in this, and I've been dying to share this episode for weeks, because it's just so profound. And so I hope you enjoyed this extra bonus episode this week, and I hope it helps you start your week off on the right foot. We all need to learn and practice loving ourselves so much more. So if you want to sign up for a snippet of sunshine, which is a daily quote coming into your inbox every morning to brighten your day, the link for that is in the show notes. You can also check out the show notes for the link for coaching as well as custom songs. And last but not least, I am offering a free weekly coaching session, hour long. It's every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Mountain Standard Time every Wednesday, and the link for that Facebook group is also in the show notes. So I'm going to leave you with a song. Have an incredible day.